Okay, so last time we were cutting, and we're just working on Kiri Otoshi. And so he's coming up, and you want to feel like you're really straight up, and his 10, let's go down. Let's come down. Face it down. His 10 on his hand is going to come just above his eyes, so you can see out from underneath it. But that's it, right? And this is, it feels like it's going absolutely straight up, but of course it's not, okay? And then, as we talked about, he's going to drop his pen down. So just slowly dropping his pen down. And you can see where it gets to the bottom. We want it to actually go a little further, okay? So his hands are going to terminate. But where he's going to get his little further is right in this claw, right in this inguinal fold right here. It needs to get soft so he can go down even a little bit further. All right? So it comes up. Now, when he's pulling the pen up, by the time it's getting to the top, again, he's softening this so that he goes down while the can's coming up. So it feels like this is attached up here, and then he starts to hang off of it. And what happens, of course, the pen isn't doing anything special. What happens is the tissues in his body starts to stretch in this manner. And they're going to actually close and reverse a little bit as he comes down. Go ahead and go slowly. He comes down. And this hand is terminating as low as it can go without pulling away. Because this makes a triangle here. This creates a triangle, right? And you'll notice that his backhand, this line is over the top of the kin. This line is more or less over the top of the kin. If you get real hardcore about that, you can really mess up your hasuji when you start using a shinken. Your cutting line can, you'll find out that it isn't as straight as you thought it was when you're coming down. So you have to find out the sweet spot for yourself. Okay? When he cuts, he's going to cut underneath, so the tip is coming out from under his groin. So he's cutting right through his groin area. Okay? And then when he goes to Seigan, it's as if it comes from here, and it feels like it's coming out this way. All right? Okay, now, another point. When he's raising his pen, this is a lot of people mess up. Can you turn the face that way? Is a lot of people, I'm going to mess it up for you. A lot of people make just a pure arc. So this is like all one thing, and they make this pure arc. Okay? Now, that's not the way we do it, because that's not Aiki-age. If I was to grab this, and he was to try to make his pure arc, it doesn't take much for me to stop that, okay? Because his arc will directly oppose my downward pressure. So what we ask people to do is to imagine, I was told liquid when I did this, but I think it's easier sometimes for people, if you think of like a ball bearing, and I put a ball bearing on his arm, and I tell him, you want that ball bearing to roll back down to his elbow. And so you can see how how he does that is different. Okay? If it were an arc, he would be resisting the ball bearing kind of the whole time. He'd throw the ball bearing into the two arcs of heat, and he'd throw the ball bearing into his forehead. He doesn't want that. He wants to roll down to his elbow. Same thing's kind of happening down here. He wants to roll down to his elbow. So this is trying to come forward this way, while this is coming this way. All right? And what happens is, if you bring it down, okay, is now when I hold on, when I put on this, I'm putting the ball bearing. I'm the ball bearing. And I'm putting it on his Ken. And what he does is he takes the ball bearing and he has it rolled back to his elbow. And this turns into Aiki Age. Alright? So every time you lift the can, this is going down and feeling like it's going forward, right? Or underneath. It's a big circle. Okay? So every time he lifts the can, he's going down and underneath the can as it's coming up. So every time he lifts the can, that's Aiki Age. Now, the opposite of that is this. So as he drops the can, okay, you get this reverse. You get the Aiki Sage sort of a thing. Although, because he only goes down to here, you wouldn't quite see the results you would do if you were doing it empty-handed and grabbed with the wrist. All right? But actually, it's very important that it's the same way. So here's another thing. You might grab it this way. Okay, there you go. It's true. Go ahead. I want to feel it again. Go ahead. That's okay. Just hold the grind muscle. That's all. Okay, very good. So Aiki Age, Aiki Sage. Now, that's kind of the mechanic of the thing. But there's another part to this. And it is kind of like you were doing a baseball throw, I guess. Now, bringing it up is the reverse of what we're going to do when we come down. So let's just start up. So he's going to come up. And what he's going to do, like with the baseball, like a pitcher's throw, is he's taking all of this, right, is the ball's over here, right? And he's taking this and moving about as far away from the ball as it possibly could, right? And then the ball comes up. They're all connected, but the ball comes up. When he cuts, it's the same thing. A lot of people cut. If their cut was like a baseball pitcher, they would be like this. They would take the ball and they would go like that at the person, right? And they're going like this with their base, and that's not how we do it. We're like the exact opposite of that. Okay? So the power of my throw is right in here, right? And the throw's happening just as a product of that, not because of my arm strength or anything. Okay? And what kind of a pitch you're going to throw is going to depend on what you're doing with your intent of what kind of pitch you're going to throw and how you taught your body to behave to make that kind of a throw occur. So you your influence over that pitch ends once it's left your body. You probably feel a connection to the thing. You know, you want to will it in, right? But there, you can't like make it go off 90 degrees just because you decided to after it's left your body, right? So it's the same way with the 10. All of this is big overt motion. We're doing it in the inside as much as possible, right? It's going to cause this thing, and the arm itself is just trying not to blow out, right? Because it's handling this much force and steering at the same time. Now, if there were a string attached to the ball and they throw, right? If there was a string attached to the ball, it's going to just throw, it's going to take them on over. You know, you're throwing over 90, almost 100 miles an hour. So, well, that's a lot of tug on the end. But we do. We have a string attached to the end of our tent because it is a string, right? And so when it gets to the end, in order to not be tugged over, a couple things happen. In order to get a little bit more juice into there, he's making this soft. He wants that to be soft when it hits the end. Because if it isn't, then it's going to want to, you know, if this were a stick, it's going to want to go like that. But if it's soft, then it's going to dig in to here, which is why we do that beat cut. Which I'll show you in just a bit. Okay. The other thing that he's going to do is he's pulling his head back and he's pulling his head up, and it pulls the slack out of the spine, so that when this pull comes, it's pulling on this whole thing, and then this is soft, so the force goes down to there. And he mentioned earlier that what he feels is his leg. You feel like if your leg goes down, your spine's going straight down. Yeah. But you need to make strength so that when this is snapping out, pulling, you've got something going on the other side. Not this. Okay. This is actually rotating back because his back muscles are engaging. Okay. These are soft. His back muscles are engaging up to his neck, and then his spinal erectors, when he pulls on that, his spinal erectors engage. Okay, and that's that end of that cut. Okay, I just wanted to share that. So this is, the cut is really powerful, but nice and loose. And the other part is that after you've launched it, because you're so soft, that means you're able to influence it. Yeah. So say you've got your cut off, right? But you need to be able to respond. You need to be able to move again, right? Well, you're not rigid, so you have to release before you can move. You're already released, so you're already able to move with your hand or up or down or sideways or whatever, okay? Because you're all set for that. Can you do one cut all the way down? Yeah. Yeah, would you? Can you do that? Good. All right. So that's how one of the ways we practice making sure that what will happen is it'll make your spine go straight down. You'll feel like you're kind of tucking in behind this leg. Okay. So, and that's exactly what we want. We want my spine to go straight up and straight down, and then the force goes out this way. So it comes out the can this way as well, but also comes in behind the, particularly this heel on the front.
You should be facing this way. So that when I get to the bottom, I don't go thump over on the knee.
Okay. So what he's showing is that we have a square. I only have a rectangle. I have a square, and then when he comes down like this, it doesn't fall into this side. Both sides are, both here are opening equally. Yeah. Yeah. And that won't happen instantly. You don't have to be He-Man or anything, but it does take a certain amount of
It really stretches your seat.
rest.